Hello, my name's Elijah Wells, and the Oscars came out just yesterday evening, so let's go back through all the winners of all the categories one by one. And for Best Picture, it goes to Anora, directed by Sean Baker, which is a massive precedent already for the film itself, as it's already the second movie that won Palme d'Or in the modern history. After Parasite, and also the second win for Neon again after Parasite, and also a massive record breaker, or ties with the record with Walt Disney, as Sean Baker has won 4 Oscars in one night, which I'll again go through every one of them later on. He won for director, picture, writing, and for the editing the movies, which is again a massive achievement in of itself. And again, it did win over The Brutalist, Completely Unknown, Conclave, June 2, Emily Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boy, Substance, and Wicked. Again, some really tight categories there. Like, for a long time, I thought The Brutalist was going to win for this one, or maybe Conclave, but again, I think at the end of the day, Anora was the one that came out on top. For Best Actor, it goes to Adrien Brody for The Brutalist. Again, it's a bit of a full circle moment for him, as this is his second nomination at the Oscars, and his first time was for Penis, which he also won for, so he joins an exclusive club of actors that, I forgot how many there were, that have a 100% record of nominations to win success. And also, he also did end up kissing Halle Berry, presumably at the after party or at somewhere, but again, somewhat of a full circle moment, considering that both characters did survive the Holocaust. So there is that. But hopefully, we'll just hope that Bradley Cooper isn't completely problematic. We're just hoping for that so far. And for Best Actress, it goes to Mikey Madison for Nora. Again, I was really hoping that Demi Moore would win for Substance. But again, she did win over Cerise Rivo for Wicked, and Sofia Carson for Emily Perez, and Fernando Torres for I'm Still Here. Again, a lot of great stuff there, but it ended up going for Maggie Madsen for Anora. I did forget to mention for actor, Adrien Brody did win over Ray Fiennes and Sebastian Stan, and as well as Timmy Chalamet for his Oscar role. And for Best Supporting Actress, it goes to Zoe Saldana for Emily Perez. I think out of all the awards that Emily Perez would have almost definitely have won, I think that and Best Song were, in my opinion, one of the most possibly deserving out of them all, and ended up winning both of them. But however, this is going to have to be layered with a lot more soul searching for Netflix after the Emily Perez wasn't too well received with audiences, understandably, and also there was the racist tweets by Carla Sofia Carson, which only just galvanized everyone's hatred in the movie even more. So much so they're going to have to rethink their Oscar strategy altogether at this point, because even their biggest successors from almost now a decade of campaign, their biggest successors so far is something like Mank or All Quiet on Western Front or Roma. None of them won Best Picture, but they did have a really strong showing even in nominations or in the wins, again, which is a bit concerning, a little bit. I'm not sure if it's anti-streaming biases against Netflix or something like that, but again, I think this is a case that Netflix really need to rethink their game at this point. But however, again, she did, back to Zoe Saldana, who did win the Oscar. She won over the likes of Ariana Grande for Wicked, Monica Barbaro for Completely Unknown, Felicity Jones for Brutalist, and Isabella Rossellini for Conclave. Again, very well deserved win for that one. For Supporting Actor, it goes to Kieran Culkin for Real Pain. Again, a lot of the awards were giving him awards for his performance in that film, so it did make a lot of sense that I predicted he would win for that one, and he did win for that one, so it was kind of a no-brainer. He won over Yura Bossanov for Anora, Edward Norton for Completely Unknown, Guy Pearce for Brutalist, and Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. For Best Director, it goes to Sean Baker for Anora. Again, this is a really good night for him. Like 4 Oscars, and we've already got to the second one already, and he has won it again for Best Director. He's won it again already for Best Director. He won over Emilia Perez, Bruceless, Substance, and A Complete Unknown. Again, really big stars in that category, but Sean Baker is definitely the one definitely spraying all the champagne tonight at that point. Adapted screenplay goes to Conclave. Again, really great movie. Again, I heard the book by Robert Harris is also really good as well, so might give it a read if I could find it. There's A Complete Unknown. It won over Emilia Perez, which is based off a short film, I think it was, or a short story or something. Nickel Boys and Sing Sing. Okay. Also some strong stuff down there. And for original screenplay, it did ended up going to Sean Baker again. Like, he's having a hell of a good night tonight. He won over The Brutalist, which I thought was going to win for that one, but no, I think Anora's going to win, but Brutalist was definitely going to be a really tough contender for that category. It also there was also nominees like A Real Pain, September 5, and Substance. Again, Anora is going to have a hell of a good night tonight for this one. For Best Original Song, it goes to Elma for Emilia Perez, which is, again, controversial opinion. I actually like this song quite a bit. I think, to be honest, it's probably the best song out of the entire category of it here, so I'm defending that one. But I did say that Emilia Perez is just causing more problems for Netflix by the minute, most likely for the long run. Like I said earlier, but again, another good song I really did like was Like a Bird from Sing Sing, which is also good, and Never Too Late from Elton John, and Meg Cabino from Emily Perez. Also, the another nominee, The Journey from 6888. Again, some good stuff right there, particularly Elmar, which did end up winning. And for Best Original Score, it ended up going to The Brutalist. Again, not a big surprise either. Like, I haven't even heard of a composer at all, like Daniel Bloomberg, or if that's his name. If I mispronounced it, I do apologise. Again, he pretty much came out of nowhere. Then he may have composed some other stuff as well, but this is his big major breakthrough, and he did win, which is, again, his major breakout role, and he already won it for it. So, good for him. And for Best International Feature, ended up going to I'm Still Here from Brazil, which was the first ever win for the country of Brazil in that category. But I'm not sure if it's completely all time, like the first win at any category for Brazil. But again, a massive, massive achievement for Brazil nevertheless. It did win over Girl with a Needle from Denmark, Emilia Perez from France, and Seed of a Sacred Fig from Germany, and Flow and from Latvia, which we will talk about later. Again, I'm a little bit surprised that Emilia Perez didn't win for Best International Film, but after the enormous amount of controversy that did go down with the racist tweets and the representation issues, how critics loved it and audiences hated it, you can pretty much see the chances of that winning of that category just disintegrate in real time, unfortunately. But I did also had some really big big contenders in that list, like the Seed of a Sacred Fig from Germany, which is, although based and shot and largely surrounds Iran, particularly the riots taking place in late 2010s and early 2020s. And also there's Flow, which we'll talk about a little bit later on, which is, again, somewhat intriguing. But for animated film, we're going to talk about Flow because it did win. And it's also the first win for Latvia as well. It won over Inside Out 2, Memoir of the Snail, Waltz of Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and The Wild Robots. I was, again, really hoping for that either Inside Out 2 or Wild Robot to win, even though I did probably said in my other video that I imagine what the Wild Robot would win. But the Dark Horse win, or Dark Cat in this case, The Flow, which won the Golden Globe, won a slew of awards, and got a lot of the appreciation from a lot of animation groups around the world. Like, the amount of praise this movie was getting is just completely unreal. Like, which is also, again, a really good thing. And also, again, Waltz and Gromit, which is a good thing to see from them again. Particularly, I think this is their first nomination. I think the one where they did baking, which Matter of Loaf of Death, which I think they got a nomination for, but I really like that short. Wild Robot, almost DreamWorks' first win since, again, Wallace and Gromit, which is, again, a film I really like. And Inside 2. But although Pixar pretty much used to have a monopoly on the wins at anime feature, but I feel like that monopoly is slowly getting erased over time at this point, along with Disney's at this point. Pretty much now, it's now the third year in a row where neither Disney nor Pixar, or preferably, or predominantly Pixar, I meant, has won from the anime feature. Like, there was Pinocchio by Guillermo del Toro, there was Hayao Miyazaki's Boy and the Heron, and now there's Lafia's Flow, which is, again, opens up a whole can of worms. Like, it's probably going to be, I'm not sure if it's going to be like Netflix when they're going to have to completely give their entire Oscar campaign in the future a complete facelift to avoid mistakes of Mia Perez, or it maybe just a case of just have to readapt somehow. And for documentary feature, it goes to No Other Land from Palestine for documentary feature, and the speech was essentially a plea for peace, particularly with the Trump's very disturbing and very turbulent vision of Gaza, which is essentially to demolish it and raze it to the ground to essentially make it a glorified Riviera. So much so that pretty much the entire Middle East pretty much hates that plan. So we'll just hope that plan does not go through. For Best Costume Design, it goes to Wicked, which won over Nosferatu, Completely Unknown, Conclave, and Gladiator 2. Again, I predicted this would win for Costume Design, and it did win, so no further comment on that one. For Best Makeup and Hairstyling, it ended up going to The Substance. Again, if you know what happens at the end of Substance, then you know what happens at the end of Substance. I'm not going to spoil it for you at this point, really. You have to look it up for yourself. It won over A Different Man, Emilia Perez, Nosferatu, and Wicked. All of them have a lot of great make-upping work, particularly of Nosferatu and Wicked, which I did really like their make-upping work in that film. But Substance pretty much made itself really more well known in the awards category, particularly how the director did say she really wants to push for more practical effects in the film, and she ended up doing that. So much so she did it into the makeup effects. So they ended up making a lot of sense to do a lot of it practically, given the movie's body horror imagery. So it made sense to do it that way. For Best Production Design, it goes to Wicked. Again, really good stuff. I would not have been surprised if the Brutalist would have won, but I was hoping, just narrowly hoping that Dune Part 2 would have won, but it ended up going to Wicked. But also a shout out to Nosferatu and Conclave, which did feature prominently throughout the awards season, particularly for its production design, but at the end of the day, ended up going to Wicked for its production design. For Best Sound, it ended up going to Dune Part 2. Yes! Finally, my favourite film of the year finally gets some Oscar wins, which is, again, very good to see. Won over Completely Unknown, Emilia Perez, Wicked, and Wild Robot. Again, very, very happy to see that it won. I wouldn't have been surprised if Wicked would have won that one, but again, very, very happy that it did win for Best Sound. For Best Editing, it ended up going to Anora, a win number 4 for Sean Baker. Again, at this point, I wonder how big his trophy cabinet would be at home. So, again, he does edit his own movies, like James Cameron does for most of his films, and also the Coen Brothers do it for their own movies. Steven Soderbergh did it for a lot of his own movies, and even for a little bit, even Hayao Miyazaki did some editing in his own movies, particularly in Princess Mononoke. I think he was also the editor of that as well, which is, again, a very fascinating world all of its own about directors who straight up edit their own movies. And it did win over The Brutalist, which, again, I would have been surprised if it did actually win, given the film's very stonking runtime. Conclave, which, again, I'd imagine that could have won, Emilia Perez, and Wicked. For cinematography, no surprises. It ended up going to The Brutalist, which, again, the imagery in that movie, seeing some couple of compilations I found around the web, Again, the imagery of that film is absolutely beautiful to look at. Again, I wish that Dune Part 2 would have won for that one, for cinematography, but this is not the world we live in. But again, I'm very happy that Brutus won for that one. It won over Emilio Perez, Maria, and Nosferatu, which is, again, incredible work they've done with cinematography, and Brutus has won for that category. For visual effects, it ended up going for Dune Part 2. Again, the only film that film rivaled is Wicked in its term for sort of nominations. Like in some sort of an idealistic world, it could have gone to Wicked, but again, I am super happy that Dune Part 2 won for Best Visual Effects. It won over Alien Romulus, Better Man, and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Again, a lot of monkeys in this category. And last, and certainly not least, we have the short categories. For live action short, it goes to I'm Not a Robot, which won over Ananju, Last Ranger, Aline, and A Man Who Could Not Remain Silent, and which again sounds good. And animated short, it goes to In the Shadow of Cypress, which won over Beautiful Men, Magic Candle, Wanda the Wander, and Yuck. Again, which is what's also interesting, according to the BBC, the nominees only got to the award ceremony just minutes before, as they had visa issues and had to get changed at the BBC office in LA, and they had to literally dash in at the very last minute before, without the possibility they could possibly have been turned away, which again, a frightening possibility, but they've at least made it and won an Oscar out of it. Documentary short, it won over The Only Girl in Your Orchestra, winning over Death by Numbers, I Am Ready, Warren, Incident, and Instruments of a Beating Heart. Again, congratulations to the short categories and the short winners. So, what do you think about the Oscars this year? Let me know in the comments down below. Subscribe to my channel, like this video. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, Blue Sky, and Threads. This is Elijah Wells, and bye.